Hi, I'm John Maxwell. When the top companies in the world are looking for trainers, speakers, and coaches, there's one name that stands above the rest, and that's Maxwell Leadership. Our certified team members have gotten proven results for companies all over the globe, and our reputation, I'm proud to say, is second to none. Some of our members have risen to the top of their profession, including the one you're going to meet today. I proudly introduce you to my friend Bob Fabian Zinka.
Welcome to the Leadership and Success Podcast with your host, Coach BZ, where we help you lead with purpose and succeed with impact. If you're ready to grow into the kind of leader others want to follow, this podcast is for you. If you're determined to elevate your success and leave a lasting legacy, this podcast is for you. As my mentor, Dr. John C. Maxwell reminds us, everything rises and falls on leadership. Our goal is simple: to inspire you, challenge you, and equip you with insights that can transform the trajectory of your leadership journey. Welcome aboard to another episode of the Leadership and Success Podcast with Coach B.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to a very special edition of the Leadership and Success Podcast. Today, we are going to be studying ancient wisdom and being mentored from the Book of Proverbs. Again, this is not a religious podcast, but we're going to be focusing on ancient wisdom and leadership lesson from the Book of Proverbs. Today, January 16, 2026, we will be studying from Proverbs chapter 16. All right. First of all, every time we start the show, I like to be reminded to be grateful. So, as is customary here, a moment of gratitude today. Like I said on the previous show, I am really grateful for the people, those who came before me, the people whose shoulder I stand. Nobody is successful all alone, all by themselves. It really takes a village. There are a lot of people who have helped me out throughout my entire career, even people that I didn't even know, but who were courageous and who were trailblazer. They took risk and they showed us what it looks like to be a good leader, and I kind of follow after their footstep, and I'm very grateful for that. So, if you are joining us, I would like to know where are you joining us from. Let us know your city, your state, and country if you are outside of the US. And also, what is one thing you are grateful for today? And if you have a question, please type it in the comment. If you have any feedback, any insight on Proverbs chapter 16, type it in the comment. And if you have any feedback on what I'm going to be presenting today, my 7 leadership lesson from Proverbs chapter 16, please type it in the comment as well. I also appreciate if you tag someone who would benefit from this episode and help us really amplify this ancient wisdom applied to modern leadership series. I do appreciate that. All right. So first, let's start with a review of what we've done so far from Proverbs chapter 1 through chapter 15. All right. We're going to ask Ron Carpenter AI twin to keep us updated. And then I will start lesson 16 in just a moment.
Hi, this is Pastor Ron Carpenter. How can I help? All right, listen closely. Proverbs chapter 1 is all about the beginning of wisdom, and that start is the fear of the Lord. It's about getting wisdom, getting instruction, the spirit of wisdom and revelation so you can see life clearly and make choices that don't mess you up. The whole thing points to the fact that wisdom isn't just a heart posture, a way of living that sets you apart. That's the big idea right there. Chapter 2 picks up from that foundation in chapter 1 and digs into why wisdom is like your best friend, your protector. It shows how wisdom saves you from the fools and you see, it's about hearing God's voice early, before trouble hits, so you can live long, peaceful days. The fear of the Lord keeps you safe and gives you avoid all kinds of foolishness. That's the big deal there. All right, chapter 3 is like wisdom's personal invitation. It tells us to trust the Lord with all our heart and not our own understanding. Come on, that's powerful. When you do that, He'll make your path straight, guiding you through life with success and peace. It's about leaning in, not just knowing God's favor daily. That's a dang good life lesson right there. All right, chapter 4 is like the pep talk from your wise, loving dad telling you to grab hold of wisdom and never about guarding your heart because everything you do flows from it, and you got to stay clear of folly that leads to destruction. It's a strong companion and your priority, period. That's the heart of it. All right, chapter 5 is a warning about the dangers of temptation, especially the seductive traps that can wreck your life and your future. It's got about staying faithful and wise, not falling for foolish shortcuts or lies that seem sweet and bitter. The message is your eyes locked on what's righteous and don't let yourself get fooled. That's the big point right there. All right, Proverbs chapter 6 is packed with tough love. It warns about foolish promises, laziness, and how God hates those among brothers. But the star of the show is that little ant. Man, that ant shows us what diligence and foresight look like, working steady and preparing ahead. That's the kind of wisdom God wants us to get, practical, real, and hard-earned. All right, chapter 7 is like this desperate shout from wisdom warning you about getting caught up in temptation, especially that sneaky kind that looks good but wrecks. Wisdom screaming for you to wake up, guard your heart, and choose the right way before it's too late. That's the big idea right there. Third is wisdom personified like a woman calling out in the streets, inviting folks to live life the right way. It's about how wisdom was with God before creation, showing wisdom is divine order and foundation for everything. The big idea, listen to wisdom's call and you'll walk in safety and honor. Chapter 9, I'm knocking on the door, y'all. It's calling us to come on in, choose life, and leave the life of fools behind. Wisdom is of blessing and safety if we listen. It's an invitation, plain and simple. All right, now, chapter 10 is like a packed toolbox of wisdom, short, punchy saying. Wise choices make life better and foolish ones mess it up. It covers everything from how your words can heal or hurt to hard work versus laziness and integrity. Bottom line, every choice matters, and your life reflects what you plant with your decisions. Chapter 11 is all about the contrast between righteousness and wickedness showing up in blessings and consequences. It's like a mirror. You can see how being honest and while deceit and pride lead to trouble. That's the heart of it. All right, chapter 12 gets into how your choices about speech, work, and integrity shape your life. It shows that a righteous person's will bring life, but fools just shoot off their mouths and cause trouble. It's a reminder that wisdom shows up in everyday actions and habits, not just fancy theory. All right, chapter 13 is discipline bring life and blessings, while foolishness brings destruction. It reminds us that what we say and do shapes our future, so choosing the path is big time. It's like planting a garden. You reap what you sow, no doubt. All right, after chapter 14 in Proverbs, you keep seeing that pattern. Brings life and blessings, but foolishness brings trouble. The chapters that follow keep hammering home practical guidance on how your choices, your words, and your heart posture set you up or pain. It's like every chapter layers on that reality until it sticks. That's the big picture as you move past 14. Okay, Proverbs 15 is all about how your words show your heart and how the wise handle correction with calm and peace while fools stir up trouble. It's reminding us that a gentle answer can diffuse conflict and that fear of the Lord leads to life. That's the heart of chapter 15.
All right, that's a pretty good summary. Proverb chapter 1 through chapter 15. So let me give you back the 7 leadership lesson we talked about yesterday for Proverb chapter 15. So leadership lesson number 1 was tone, determine trajectory. That was based on verses 1 and 2. Leadership conversation escalate or de-escalate based on tone more than content. So wisdom is not only what you say, but how you say it. Okay, leadership number 2. Wise leaders listen before they lead. So verses 7 and 14. Foolish leaders broadcast opinion. Wise leaders seek understanding. Listening is a leadership skill, not a passive act. Lesson number 3. Correction is a gift, not a threat, based on verses 10, 12, 31, and 32. Teachability separate enduring leaders from temporary ones. Pride rejects correction. Wisdom welcomes correction. Okay, number 4, yesterday we talked about culture is built through words, verses 4 and 23. Words shape morale, motivation, and meaning. Leaders speak life or slowly drain life. Okay, lesson number 5. Pride distorts judgment, but humility sharpens judgment. Verses 25 and 33. Pride blinds leaders to risk, but humility keeps leaders grounded and alert. And then lesson 6 was decision quality reflects counsel quality. Verse 22. Wise leaders don't lead alone. Collective wisdom reduces blind spot and strengthen execution. That's why you really need to have a diverse team. Those teams perform so much better than any other team, a lot more profitable, a lot more effective, because everybody can kind of watches everybody else's blind spot, right? And you use everybody's strength and you maximize their strength and minimize their weaknesses. And as a group, the synergy that comes from your collaboration is so much greater than each individual work alone. All right. And then the last lesson yesterday, lesson number 7, reverence anchors leadership integrity based on verses 16, 17, and 33. And we finish by saying that values, not outcome, will define lasting leadership. Integrity outlives success matrix. All right, so that's what we talked about yesterday, Proverbs chapter 15. So today, January 16, we're going to start a brand new chapter, chapter 16. And again, I want to remind you, you can watch all of the previous 15 episodes, your favorite podcast platform, including YouTube and LinkedIn. Everything is available there. You can watch. I do appreciate if you write a review and rate the Leadership and Success podcast. Hopefully, I get a 5-star, and I do appreciate that because it really helps us go ahead and the algorithm will help us reach out to a lot more people. So again, if you are watching, I'd like to know where are you joining us from, what city, what state, and if outside of the US, which country. One thing you are grateful for today, and then if you have a question for me or a comment about what I'm talking about, type it in the comments, or if you have an insight on a verse I may not highlight, please, I would like to know, type it in the comment as well. All right, so let's start with Proverbs chapter 16. The big idea here is this chapter teaches leaders a paradoxical but powerful truth. We plan, but God directs. This chapter reframes leadership away from self-reliance and toward humble submission, moral clarity, and disciplined character. So it reminds us that success is not merely the result of strategy, intelligence, or ambition, but of alignment. Leaders who commit their plan, motive, and decision to a higher standard gain stability, credibility, and enduring influence. Today, this morning, season 5, episode 19, I spoke with Colonel, he's also a medical doctor, Josh Artzell, and we talked about how it's important to lead with humility. That's the primary lesson he learned when he was deployed with the 82nd Airborne Division, world-renowned division from the Army. You have to lead with humility. You don't know everything, and you need to be humble enough to be able to receive feedback from other people and learn. All right, so the theme here for chapter 16 is align leadership, planning with wisdom, leading with humility, and walking with integrity. That's the theme. Okay. Our first lesson number 1, motives matter more than methods. So we're going to read verses 2 and 3. Motive matters more than the method. Okay, verse 2.
All the ways of a man are pure in his own eyes, but the Lord weighs the spirits. Commit your works to the Lord, and your thoughts will be established.
Commit your works, and your thoughts will be established. So, leaders are often evaluated by outcomes, but character is evaluated by intent. What did you intend to do? Pure looking actions can still be driven by ego, fear, or control. So it's not just what you do, but it's why you are doing what you do. Sustainable leadership begins with surrendered motive. Are you doing the right thing? And what is the motivation for you doing what you did? Because sometimes you can do the right thing, but you're doing it for the wrong reason. So this here allows us to be aligned. What are your core values? What do you stand for? And what are your derived action? And then you will get the outcome. All right. So how do we apply this? Before launching a plan, pause to examine why you want the outcome. Why? Simon Sinek is very well known. His best-selling book, Start with Why. Why do you do what you do? Because when things get difficult, if you have a good reason for doing what you're doing, you are going to endure. You are going to continue doing what you need to do because you are motivated. You know exactly why you need to do what you are doing. But if you don't really know why you are doing something, the very first time you face an obstacle, a challenge, you are going to give up. All right. So examine why you want the outcome, not just how you will achieve it, but start with why. All right. So what motivates your current leadership decision? And are you seeking impact, recognition, or control? So the anchor reflection here is alignment precedes advancement. Be aligned with your core value, with who you are, and know exactly why you want to do what you are doing. All right. Leadership lesson number 2. Sovereignty brings stability. I'm going to go to verse 9.
A man's heart plans his way, but the Lord directs his steps.
A man plans his way, and planning is good, but sovereignty brings stability. Strategic planning is wise, but believing we control outcome is dangerous or could be dangerous. So mature leaders plan diligently while holding outcomes loosely. So how do we apply this? Well, you have to plan thoroughly. Planning is important. Again, I like bringing up Brian Tracy. He's one of my major mentors who taught me this, right? You kind of have to measure twice and cut once. No, he says every hour you spend in planning will save you up to 10 hours in execution. So planning is definitely important. Now, in the military, we do all types of planning, war plan and everything. When we do exercises, planning is important, but things don't always go according to plan, but you do need to have a good, solid plan. However, even though it is wise to plan, but believing we control outcome is or can be dangerous. So plan thoroughly, but remain adaptable, right? Uh, Rigidity often signal pride, not confidence. So I believe it was yesterday. I think I was speaking with General Spencer, who is our friend in the spotlight this week, and he was saying how you do need to plan, but as you implement your plan, things are going to change when you use data to make a better choice as you have more information. Because usually you don't have enough information to make the best decision, but you do have to make the best decision you can with the information you have. Right? My mentor up there, General Common Powell, used to say the P45 7 year old, right? You would wait to have at least 45% of the information he needs before he makes a decision, but no more than 70. Because if you want to wait until you have 100% of the information, then it is going to be too late for you to make a decision. So you need to be able to make a decision pretty quickly. And then based on the outcome of what you see, you can adjust that decision with the additional information you get. So plan diligently while holding outcome loosely. All right. Plan thoroughly, but you have to remain adaptable. So where are you resisting course correction right now? How do you respond when plan change? So really, as a leader, we shouldn't be too attached to our plan, but we should be attached to our outcome. What is it that we are trying to do? What is the end state, and what do I need to do in order to make sure I am able to accomplish the outcome, to have the impact I intend to have. So you have to be flexible. So the anchor reflection here is confidence comes from trust, not from control. And today, again, with Colonel Josh Hartzell, we talk about how leadership is not just about control, but it is really about the impact that you are having, right? mission first, but people always. What is the impact you are having on your people, on your team, and your organization? All right. The next lesson, lesson number 3, integrity is a leader's currency. We're going to read verse 8 and 11.
Better is a little with righteousness than vast revenues without justice. Honest weights and scales are the Lord's. All the weights in the bag are his work.
Honest, weight, and scale. Integrity is the leader's currency. So short-term wins achieved through compromised ethics always extract long-term cost. Integrity will build trust. The most valuable leadership asset is trust. And you build trust with integrity. Wow. Trust is something sometimes that takes a while to build, but once you lose it, it's almost impossible to get it back. So value your integrity above all else. Another lesson I learned from Brian Tracy. So how do we apply this? So choose the harder right over the easier wrong. Just because something is easier doesn't mean you should do it. You have to think about doing the right thing, even if it's hard to do, especially when no one is watching. I keep bringing this up, but one way I look at ethics is I always think about my grandmother. I love my grandma, Suzanne Kinwani. And it's like, what would she think of me if I made this decision? What would my grandma think? So when nobody's watching, what is the right thing to do? So where might you be tempted to cut corners? And what standards do you refuse to compromise? That's another great lesson about ethics. You need to think in advance what you are going to do before you are put in the fog of war, in the situation. What is your decision? What are you going to do if the situation comes? My primary mentor, I think I have it over there. He has a 101 books on ethics, Dr. John C. Maxwell. That's part of what he talks about. An interview also I had last season, season 4, I believe, episode 133, I think, with Dr. Casey Lucius, my former professor at the Naval War College at Monterey. She taught us in ethics that you really have to think about these issues in advance and decide what you are going to do before you are forced into the situation. We even talked about the Bathsheba syndrome, which refers back to King David and Bathsheba. Everybody went to war, and King David stayed back home, and he got seduced by this beautiful woman who was a married woman. And then he decided to make sure that her husband, who was one of his soldiers, faithful soldier, good man, make sure to put him in the front of the battle so that he would get killed. So basically, David murdered him so he could sleep with his wife. And that really was terrible. And hopefully, every leader can learn from that. Because when you gain a certain level of success, sometimes you tend to drift, right? And that's why it is so important to remain focused. So I want to plug in another resource that can be good for you from Drift to Drive. My mentor, Chris Robinson, wrote this book, A High Achiever's Guide to Breaking the Chains of Complacency. Sometimes we tend to be complacent, and we have to learn how to remain focused. So trust is earned slowly and lost quickly. That's the anchor reflection. Next lesson, lesson number 4. Pride is the silent threat. So we're going to read verse 18.
Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall.
Pride goes before destruction. Again, the episode we just recorded earlier this morning, a couple of hours ago, with Colonel Josh Artsell, MD, we talked about leading with humility. That is so important because pride goes before destruction. Pride is the silent threat. So, pride rarely announces itself. It goes quietly through success, praise, and unchecked authority. Leaders fall not from weakness, but from self-exaltation. And sometimes when you are so successful and you get so much praise, you start believing a lot of things that are just not real. You start thinking that you are much better than you actually are, that you are untouchable, that you cannot fall, and you become proud. And it's that proud that is going to cause you to fail. So it's so important to remain humble. Keep yourself in check. Keep your ego in check. You can be proud of your achievement and who you are becoming, but always, always be humble. That's really a master key to longevity as a leader. All right. So, how do we apply this? Invite honest feedback, be open for feedback, build systems that challenge your assumption. Again, that's why I believe you need to have diverse team, diverse, equitable, inclusive, where people belong. And you need to have diverse teams so that those people can back you up, support you, and when you have a blind spot, they can help you see that, challenge some of the assumptions you have that might not be correct, and help you be a better leader and as a team be more efficient and be able to achieve your goals. All right. So, who has permission to challenge you? So, think about giving a few people, your inner circle, the permission to speak to you freely and tell you exactly what they think and challenge you when you need to be challenged. Always be open for feedback. So, how do you respond to correction? So, the anchor reflection here is humility is proactive, not reactive. And again, you're going to see throughout this study of the Book of Proverbs, a lot of these lessons we've already talked about, but they keep coming back over and over and over again. I think a lot of us, when we lead, we do have trouble with pride sometimes without even realizing it. You think, oh, I am this big stuff. I am this big kahuna. I am in charge. I am the leader. Yeah. But when you are a leader, it's not for your own benefit, right? It's for the benefit of others, the people you serve. Right? It's not them serving you, it's you serving them and removing obstacles so they can accomplish their mission. It's you, like, again, Colonel Josh Artzell said this morning. He asked, what can I do to advance the career of my people, of my team member? What can I do to add value to them? That's really how you create trust and also create an environment where people are loyal and they want to do the very, very best work they can. Because when I was a commanding officer for the Global Network Operations Security Center in Suffolk, I really wanted to create an environment, especially right after COVID, where my people wanted to come to work. Right, we've been working from home for a while because of the global pandemic, so it was time to come back to the office. So I wanted them to have a desire to be there, and then once they got there, I wanted them to do the very, very best work they could. Like Colin Powell, again, one of my primary mentors, had a huge impact on my leadership journey. He said, no, management can probably get somebody to be effective up to 100% of what they can do, right? Whereas leadership will take you beyond that to 110, 120%. And it's really the art and the science of leadership. Okay, so the anchor reflection here is humility is proactive, not reactive. So you have to be proactively humble. And if you're going to be a great leader, you have to lead with humility. Humility is not soft, it's not weakness, it is a strategy. All right, lesson number 5, leadership lesson number 5. Influence flows from character. We're going to read verses 21 and 23. Influence flows from character.
The wise in heart will be called prudent, and sweetness of the lips increases learning. The pleasant words are like the heart of the wise teaches his mouth and adds learning to his lips.
The art of the wise teaches his mouth from the heart and adds learning to his lips. Wow. Influence flows from character. So leadership influence isn't about charisma. It's about wisdom expressed through disciplined speech. As a leader, you have to choose your words carefully, and not just what you say, but how you say it, the tone. Speaking from love, not judgment. Slow your words. Thoughtful communication multiplies trust and clarity. Stephen Covey is a great example of this. Many times when people are listening, they listen so they can reply. But what you need to do is to listen so you can understand. I've said this before, but my mom taught me when I was just a teenager, right? God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth, and she told me, use those in that proportion. Listen twice as much as you speak. Don't just speak to hear yourself speak. Speak because you have something to say. And if you have a leader, if you have a boss, if you are in charge of a team, you shouldn't be speaking all the time, right? When you speak, your words needs to be weighted so that when people listen to you, they listen to every word and they know that it is important because the boss is speaking. Because if you talk all the time, just talking, at some point they're just gonna phase you out. So listen more, pay attention, receive feedback, and then speak when you have something to say and speak with conviction, with power. Align with your core values, who you are, your words, and your action. That's leadership. Okay. So how do we apply this? I said slow your words and thoughtful communication will multiply trust and clarity. So do your words build clarity or confusion? Are you listening as much as you speak? No. From my mom, are you listening twice as much as you speak? You have to practice active, proactive listening. So the anchor reflection here is wise leaders speak less, but they say more. With fewer words, they say a lot more. What they say matters. Okay, leadership lesson number 6. Discipline shapes destiny. We're going to read verse 32. Discipline shapes destiny. Verse 32.
He who is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he who rules his spirit than he who takes a city. The lot.
He who rules his spirit is stronger than he who takes the city. Can you control your tongue? Discipline shapes destiny. Self-mastery will outperform raw power. Somebody can be more powerful than you are, but if you have discipline, you can outrun them. Right? Everybody knows the fable, right? The tortoise and the hare, right? Even though it was much, much slower, but because it was disciplined and consistent, that reminds me of the compound effect, doing the right thing over and over and over again. And without fail, there is a compounding effect. Whereas the other animal was so much faster and stronger, it would take naps and just be lazy. And before you know it, they lost the race. So it's not just your strength, but it's the discipline behind that. Again, Colonel Hartzell this morning, he said one of his secret to success, one of the reasons why he's so successful is because of that discipline, hard work, right? Being consistent, showing up every day and doing the work. And you may not see the result right away, but with time it will compound and you will see the benefit of that. You will get your harvest if you do not give up. Discipline, discipline. All right. So leaders who cannot govern themselves will eventually misgovern others. So you have to be able to be a disciplined leader. And Darren Hardy is the one who taught me this. Successful people and those who are not so successful, they all pretty much want the same thing. But the difference is successful people do what they need to do when they need to do it, whether they feel like it or not. Most people don't feel like doing what is going to make them successful. And people who are successful, even though they don't want to do it, they will do it anyway. I need to do this. I need to do it now. And they just get it done. They are disciplined. All right. So how do we apply this? Develop daily discipline, emotional, moral, spiritual, and develop disciplines that anchors you under pressure. So what triggers your impatience or your anger? Where do you need stronger self-control? So you need to start working on yourself so that you are stronger. And when the challenges come, you will overcome because you are prepared, right? Success is when preparation meets opportunity. So the anchor reflection here is inner discipline is outer strength. So be disciplined in your thought, in your thinking, in what you say and what you do. Discipline. All right. Leadership lesson number 7. Legacy is built through righteous living. We're going to read verse 31. Let's talk about legacy.
The silver-haired head is a crown of glory, if it is found in the way of righteousness.
Wow, silver-haired head. I guess my hair is turning silver now. In Africa, it's a great sign of wisdom. But anyway, leadership is not just about performance. It's about who you become over time. Who are you becoming? Are you proud of who you are? Not just what you have, but who you become. Legacy will outlive position. So how do we apply this? Making decision today that your future self and those you lead will thank you for. I was a teenager when I made up my mind, right? I want to make good decision. I want to make decision I will be proud of. Now, one day, I hope I will be 80, 90, 100 years old, and I'm going to look back over my life and I'll be like, man, I am so glad I did what I did. No regret. I don't want to be one of those people, I'm very, very old now, and I wish I had done something different. I wish I started my business. I wish I had gone to school. I wish I had gone after this certification. I wish I had applied for this job. No, I don't want any regret. Whatever I would wish I would have done in the future, I want to do it now, right? So making decision today that my future self will be very, very proud of. Again, Brian Tracy is that mentor of mine who taught me about long-term perspective. Making decision today that are going to get you closer to your long-term goal, not just right here and right now, but next week, next month, next year, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. What is going to be the impact of the decision I'm making today? And then being consistent with it. All right. What kind of leaders will your decision shape you into? And what legacy are you building daily? What legacy are you building right now? So the anchor reflection for the last lesson is longevity follows integrity. So Proverbs 16 really calls leaders to surrender the illusion of control and embrace the discipline of alignment, being aligned with your core value, who you are, what you value, what you say, what you think, what you do. When plans are submitted, motives purified, and pride restrained, so you just have to keep your ego in check, leadership becomes not just effective, but enduring. Again, you get that legacy, that enduring legacy. The strongest leaders are those who walk humbly, act justly, and trust fully. All right, that's the lesson for today, Proverbs chapter 16. We are going to do Proverbs chapter 17 tomorrow. I hope you can join me. Ancient Wisdom, mentoring from the Book of Proverbs. Again, Ancient Wisdom and leadership lesson from the Book of Proverbs. Today, January 16, we did Proverbs 16. Tomorrow, January 17, 2026, we will study Proverbs 17. Again, let me know if you are watching the replay. Where are you tuning in from? Let me know what city, what state, which country, and what you are grateful for as you watch this replay. And also, if you have a question for me or any feedback on any of the lessons I've shared, any of the verses I've highlighted, or any insight you have on any verses I didn't get to highlight in chapter 16, please let me know. I would like to read it. All right. And I also would appreciate if you tag someone from your team who might benefit from this lesson. And I will be back tomorrow. Now, in a couple of hours, I will have a great privilege of speaking with Dr. Lee Bockham. He's an architect of thriving relationship, best-selling author of several books. His latest one, Thrive Principle. We're going to be talking about thriving under pressure. That's today. And then on Sunday afternoon, I believe around 2:30 p.m. Pacific time, 5:30 p.m. Eastern time, I'm going to be speaking to Major Chris Leininger, U.S. Army. He's a mentorship-driven change agent. We're going to be talking from Eagle Scout to Field Grade Officer. That's going to be on Sunday. All right. Thank you so much for watching this special edition of the Leadership and Success Podcast. And I will see you in a couple of hours with Dr. Lee Bockham. Thanks again. Bye for now.
Thank you for tuning in to the Leadership and Success Podcast with your host, Coach BZ. If today's episode added value to your leadership journey, be sure to subscribe, share, and join us again for more wisdom nuggets on how to lead better and achieve greater success. Remember, Leadership is the most critical skill of our time. The world will always need leaders to inspire others, drive innovation, and execute meaningful strategy. So why not count yourself among the bold leaders shaping the 21st century? Until next time, stay inspired, stay committed, and keep leading with excellence.